My name is Cameron Creswell. I'm the Managing Director of Automotive Talent. We're an automotive-centric executive search business. I'm based in Australia, but we work across the Asian Pacific region and even have some clients in North America. We've been around for 12 years, and our focus is naturally the automotive industry, but more executive search level roles in the automotive industry, senior executive type positions. So we've always been very, I suppose, progressive as a business, I would like to think. So, we tended to be using LinkedIn before anyone else was using LinkedIn, very early adopters of technology. So we were naturally like any business like ours, we have an ATS, we leverage LinkedIn Recruiter, naturally, that was basically our technology stack that we used when it came to candidate outreach, and very manual, very long-winded, and it was when we learned about Access Automate, it was. We had to have it basically because there was value in it that we saw, and it was perfect. It was a perfect solution for what I felt our needs were. So, there are I think there are businesses out there that provide automation across ATSs and data cleansing and all of those kind of things. But when it came time to really nurture a connection, we felt that it was the perfect solution. And basically what it meant for us was that it saved time, it saved a salary of actually a human doing it, and actually did it, fair to say, more disciplined because it was naturally automated, and the ease of use side of things was one of the main sort of features that I felt at the time. So it's basically it's been a godsend when it comes to process as well as productivity, and in that saves a salary. You could customize an automation to the project that you were working on, so therefore it felt more authentic. I like to think that the way that the system works is that it puts authenticity into automation. Is my feeling on it, and that's the I think the secret sauce to how the system works. Straightforward, yeah, very easy for what I can recall. It was, there was naturally an onboarding and a sign up, but then there was training with great communication, and whenever there was a question that needed to be asked, there was people available to do it in a responsive time, and naturally there's online resource as well. But the system's so easy to use; it's fairly intuitive. Once you get the hang of it, once you get an understanding of it, the rest of it is pretty straightforward. Well, it would be completely different, So, it is something that it's a little bit like having automatic windscreen wipers in a car. Once you have it, that becomes your standard, right? You don't go back, and if you do have to go back, you feel sad about it. So, yeah, that's probably the best way of describing it. I think we initially signed up for it to really be our candidate automation side, but the actual real, I think, the thing it does just as well, if not maybe even in some ways better, is the client nurture and the business development side. So, we use it from everything from naturally candidate outreach for projects, but we also use it for client development and doing marketing for a particular thing that we are working on. We float candidates through it. So your most placeable candidates get floated through it, and we even use it to help build company followers across in our LinkedIn page as well. So, there's so many different things you can have it. You can have the automation as an individual, combined with others. The flow of it is really up to you and how you feel your audience best would react to it, depending on the job that it's doing and naturally the target audience. Yeah, no, I think productivity increase is exponential. I would say that it is exponentially freed up, like hours in the day. So, that in itself is a payback. And it obviously, it's a piece of technology, so it's disciplined. It's more disciplined while the human is. So, we actually have them as referred to as our workforce in a way. So, productivity increase naturally. Obviously that in turn saves a wage investment and a salary, so that you can free that person up to do the other things that they can only do. And placements, I would say we've definitely increased our placement rate, closure rate, and the communication piece. It's really paid off on many levels. So, our focus as a business, as long as we've been around, has always been about the relationship and fostering relationships. And that in itself is what the automotive industry is about. And it's people outside the automotive industry think it's just about sheet metal and tires and truck, all of those kind of things, where the reality is a very big people business. Relationships are the most important thing. And that's always been our approach. But I think I even don't refer to our business as a recruitment business, because there's a kind of a transactional kind of flavour that comes along when people think about recruitment. So, for me, it's more about authentic relationships. And I know this is a piece of technology, but it helps you build that authentic relationship, and that's why we use it and the reason why we fell in love with it.